Have you ever felt like in order to be loved, you had to be perfect? If you answered yes to this question, are you ready to feel loved and appreciated just by being you? People in your soul group, you guys are the performers, the entertainers, the joy bringers, expression, performing. I want you to really let yourself shine, and I know you have different projects and performances that you do, but don't be afraid to really go all out. Sometimes we've been taught to be somebody that we aren't. And with the law of perfection, it can sometimes come with this I want to play it safe attitude because I've seen this work for other people, therefore it can work for me. And what that does is it can really separate you from your true self. In reconnecting Anthony with his soul gifts, he now has something that he can always connect to, something that is who he really is, that can support him in breaking the law of perfection and having results that he loves in his love life, in his relationships, and beyond. All of us are human beings, and all of us have soul gifts. And our soul gifts can really shed light into how we are wired to give and to receive love. And when we can really just infuse these gifts into our relationships and into our desires, then we really get to experience what it is that we want. Again, you were probably told that you were wrong growing up because they're like, gosh, Anthony, another show that you're creating that you're making the family sit down to watch, or I don't know what happened.
Literally, I did that all the time. I used to put together stories and I would tell people what their part was, how they had to act, what they had to do, where they had to stand. And as I got older, I would we had VHS cameras back then, and we used to do our own Saturday Night Lives.
I love that.
Yeah.
See
so
that? I'm just looking at you just that's amazing. So another part of the Soul Intensive is I love to shed light on the soul level blocks that are keeping my clients from having what it is that they want. As you will see with Anthony, he struggles with discipline. He struggles with procrastination. And this is not unusual for people who have the law of perfection, because sometimes they think, okay, I'll do this when A, B, and C are happening. Translation, I'll do this when everything is perfect. And the thing is that things are rarely perfect. And what we think that we need before we can do what it is that we want, it's often a huge resistance mechanism. And that is so the law of perfection getting in the way of you really experiencing your soul gifts and breaking free of being perfect and just being you, taking action, even if it's messy, even if it's not perfect, and learning and refining as you go. Okay, Anthony, 10 lifetimes ago, you had something going on with two sisters, a flirtation happening with each sister. You had the affections of both of these women. I'm going to hold him up for the camera so everyone can see what we've been dealing with. This is Hermie. Hermie makes it all about him. So at one point, it was choice time. It got to the point where you couldn't date both of them at once because they both found out about it and they both were make a decision.
Oof.
And one of them was a little scarier than the other one, and you actually had more affection for the sweeter one. Like, you preferred her more, but you thought that it would be better for everyone involved if you chose the one that was a little more. The fallout that came from that was the one that you chose, like, she and her sister were no longer friends anymore, and every time there was like an event where the tribe was there, where the family was there, your wife, I guess, was just super, super nasty to the other one, and you just felt like a horrible person about this. So what you did is you felt so bad. And when our soul feels like it's really, like when we feel like we have just made a horrible mistake and that other people have been hurt at the expense of our actions, we can take on so much guilt that our soul chooses to keep the karma open. And what this does is it serves as this like lesson about like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And the energy of this karma is shame. That karma was so strong that what happened is it really connected you to both of these women. And when they passed away, they did not cross over appropriately. They ended up attaching to your energy. The first, like the one that you wanted to choose, the sweet one, who you had more affection for, but you decided you would help everyone out and not do that. She attached to you at your heart chakra. This is about love. This is about healing. This is about giving and receiving. And when we have blocks on our heart chakra, we can feel very drained when it comes to love. And the program that she's playing on your heart chakra is if something can go wrong, it will. The other one attached to you at your throat chakra. That's about communication, speaking and living your truth. It's about being authentic.
Yeah.
When we have blocks on our throat chakra, sometimes we don't really say what we mean to say, because either we're sugarcoating it, or it's miscommunicated, or we don't quite tell the whole truth.
We don't stand up for ourselves.
We don't stand up for ourselves. And this combination shows that it's been very hard for you to follow your heart or speak your heart's truth with love. A huge archetype that Anthony deals with is a saboteur archetype. Right now you're probably like, what are you talking about with archetypes? An archetype is a universal symbol that, regardless of where you live and where you come from, it's something that we can all universally understand. And we all know what it is to be a person who sabotages things, or what it is to be a bully or a teacher or a mother. These are all archetypes, and they are all things that we're familiar with. And in this session, we really zero in on Anthony's relationship with his saboteur archetype. Just so that you know, this is based on Carolyn Myss's work with archetypes, something that I totally love, and I find it completely helpful in connecting with clients about their, guess what, their self-sabotage patterns. So here we go. What does your dream relationship look and feel like?
It looks and feels like we both do our own thing, and that she would be a person who has her own drive for her own things, and we would be supportive of each other in our things that we do. Like, that's what I would like. I would like something where I feel supported in my crazy dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd also like to feel like I have somebody that I look at and am inspired by their drive, and you know, even if their dream is completely separate from mine, and that gives me the opportunity to be supportive in reciprocation, in reciprocity.
What's interesting, what I've noticed with you, is that you'll give yourself a moment to be in the flow of love and passion as you speak about it, and then something comes in and cuts you off.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, it's cool, it's just a hobby.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you're afraid to take yourself seriously, or if somebody is. I know that during your reading something came up, like with how you chose to kind of view what happened with your mom and how you changed yourself.
I'm just start making excuses here. For my whole life, I've always needed a lot of rest. Like, rest is huge for me. Ever since I was a little kid, I've been able to sleep like 12, 13 hours. Like,
So
I don't do that anymore.
hold on. Rest is important. Like, your body needs rest.
Yeah.
But sometimes we feel very tired when we're at a point of being our highest potential, or in pursuing something that would actually change our lives. So right now, as we talk, I want to introduce you to somebody I call Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Junior is what I call our ego.
Okay.
So our ego is the part of us that it wants to help us survive. It's very motivated by fear. It wants to actually keep you away from your highest potential because there's a lot of uncertainty there. So you've heard me talk about this a bit already before. I talk about someone named Junior a lot. And Junior is my own word for ego. And our ego is the part of us that really wants to keep us safe, doesn't want us to move forward. And it's not from a place of malice. It's not from a place of really wanting to hold us back. It's from a place of safety. Your ego has no idea. Your Junior has no idea what your life would be like if you had an incredible relationship, if you enhanced the relationship that you are already in, and if you manifested what it is that you want, if you really allowed yourself to be successful. Your Junior may have no idea what that is like. And guess what? Junior will just try to hold you back at any cost. With the law of perfection, Junior holds us back by telling us we have to have everything in order before we can have what it is that we want. And this is just a lie. Yes, what you ultimately want may not happen overnight. Like that's probably very, very true. However, what you can have will happen if you make new choices. And these choices get to align to your soul gifts and get to line up with your intention as well. Your highest potential is your soul gifts. And this is like what the God card represents, because your divinity is like the divine self-expression, the authenticity, your communication. And like with words, so like whether it's in rapping, because I think you creating your own material is like essential for you, especially with words. Mm-hmm. So this hedonist is also a part of your divine gifts. And it's a part of you that you've made wrong about you, because you're a joy bringer, you're an entertainer, Anthony. It's a part of your divinity. And I think that's why even when you start talking about what you would like, you cut yourself off, because you've bought into the illusion that you can't be responsible or successful and have like all the joy that you bring to things.
Yeah.
Now, Midas and Miser, this has to do with you hoarding all of your gifts.
Prostitute. Light attribute accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. Shadow attribute places material considerations and security above self-empowerment.
So of course you're not selling your body, but what we can do sometimes is we can sell our spirits. Where I'm not saying that moving to Phoenix would have been a negative choice or a fear-based choice, but what I am saying is it really kicked up this prostitute archetype in you where you had just committed to your soul's journey of being an entertainer, a performer, of delighting people on stage and all of the joy you brought into your life, of course. Not to say you can't do that wherever you're located.
Sure.
And from what you just told me, what I'm reflecting back to you is you kind of put the money above you.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because the job that I'm doing is 100%, 90% about money for me because it's my job. I had rationalized how it would back burner the creative stuff, but that it also would enable it down the road in a greater way than it will be enabled, in a greater and faster way than it would be enabled now.
So just it's the spellcaster.
Okay.
That's one of your archetypes that's unique to you. And with this spellcaster archetype, this really melds in well to your divine gift of divine self-expression, communication, authenticity, and teaching. And that words are everything. You can influence yourself and other people by what you say. So with what you just proclaimed here in this like magical way that, I'm just like, maybe that's a good idea. And I'm like, actually, that's one way. It's not,
Right.
there are plenty of ways to handle it. But Anthony, if you really paid attention to what it is that you're saying, because you don't have to make a bunch of money by selling out.
Saboteur. Light attribute highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life. That's the light attribute. Highlights your fear of self-empowerment.
It's one of the survival archetypes that
and
every
the
person
changes it
has.
would bring to your life. Shadow attribute induces self-destructive behavior or the desire to undermine others.
It's in the place of relationships and partnerships.
Cool.
And this can be business partnerships, it can be intimate relationships, marriage. Ironically, that's where mine is placed as well.
Oh.
So the saboteur lets us know when we're afraid of our highest potential, and it gives us excuses on why we can't move forward with something. And sometimes they're valid, sometimes they're nothing more than an excuse. It's ultimate disempowerment.
Yeah.
What's been happening in the dating front? Anything?
Not really. I have several girls that I'm kind of talking to really casually, literally just communicating and not hanging out or anything. Yeah, texting and messaging. And it's fun, it's light, and it's flirty. And I don't think anybody has any like super serious intentions with it. At least that's the feeling that I have. I'm not boyfriend material.
Why?
Because I just, until I have some overwhelming like desire for it that maybe is inspired by the person in question, whoever that may be, I'm not going to commit to being with a person. Yeah.
So I'm going to let you know what about that could be stalling things for you.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some fear with you on really asking for what you want.
Yeah.
And a fear that you won't be able to handle it if you get it. So what would it be to be wowed?
I think it would be overwhelming, where I would like really have like a more intensive crush on an individual, where I would probably almost like overdo it in my mind and be like, I have to pursue this, and like drop my own suppositions. And
is there anybody that you're interested in that is interested in the same activities that you're doing that you see and you could ask out?
I have a crush on a girl in my acting class right now.
That's what I'm fishing for.
Yeah, for sure.
So why don't you ask her out?
I don't know, because I mean, I guess first of all, I've considered. I have some little Weasley things that I'm doing to like continue to be closer with her, because we get along just fine. There's a little bit of an age difference there, and I think that probably is a bigger deal for her than it is for me.
What's the age difference?
10 years, she's older.
Uh-huh.
Going back to class after.
So then I'm
down.
going to invite you
Mm-hmm.
to step outside of whatever limitation you've put on her.
Mm-hmm.
That you can give her a chance.
Yeah.
Because if she says, yes, I'd love to go out with you,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, well, let's get together after class or before class or whatever. If you would like to start moving energy in this, every choice has a consequence, and if we want to create new results, we get to do something that's a little out of our comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you check in with yourself on what your motivation would be for asking her out or not. So you might be wondering, what is intention? Intention is the energy of what it is that you want. So let's just say the energy of what I want is love, because love is what you want to have in your relationships, or you want to feel appreciated. The intention of that is love. And I want you to ask yourself, is loving myself being extremely critical and withholding and saying I can't have what I want until I'm perfect? No, that's not loving. That's like the opposite of loving. I'm not asking you to be unreasonable or delusional. I'm just saying, I'm asking you to say, I can have what I want, and it's okay if I'm not perfect, and I will figure it out as I go, because love is my intention, and I am a divine being, and that is what I'm creating. With how you're made, Anthony, your relationship with yourself is really, really important, and it's going to dictate the tone of all of your other relationships. Intimate relationships, work relationships. So it's really important that you do your homework. And by homework, I mean the prayers that you received that you haven't begun yet. This is all to support you in having your best relationship in the life that you love. And not doing it is a form of sabotage.
Gotcha.
And it seems really like...
It's kind of my normal traditional form.
Of
like
just...
all through like my youth and school and everything, that was always my move, just like, oh, I do my homework. It seems like it's a normal behavior to be like, to disengage.
That's what people do. We, on one hand it makes sense, like put energy into what you want.
Yeah.
However, you don't want to be an irresponsible person who flakes out on yourself and other people, and you want to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
So you get to show up like that in all parts of your life, because the universe doesn't know the difference between Anthony's work life and Anthony's creative life and Anthony's love life. Yeah. The universe just sees and responds to choice and consequence. So if you're choosing to go in there and not give a shit and treat yourself and everyone else like crap, you get you
Get that
get
back.
consequences that create more opportunities to do that, or where you feel like shit about yourself, or you're not motivated.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Anthony, what is your intention for our time together today?
Let's dig into deeper meaning and further confidence in moving forward in life.
Your guides want me to talk to you about how whenever you start to feel like that, I'm not good enough, that's a very normal part of stepping into your potential. In your case, like with the creative endeavors, with your acting, with your music, it's also like that in relationships. Like I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable enough. These are things that we as people we get to contend with these feelings. And you talk to any self-aware person, and they're going to let you know that they go through that too.
Yeah.
For you, as we've talked about, like with how you're made, like you, like you're supposed to be on stage, and you're supposed to like entertain and delight people. It's just how you're wired. And sometimes you may want like that instant gratification, and some days like you'll get it, and it's like yeah. And then days when it's like, it takes a little more discipline, a little more effort. It can get frustrating when you don't see things happening as quickly as you want.
Sure. Definitely agree with that.
What your guides really wanted me to talk to you about today anyway, I just didn't know how it was going to come up.
Cool.
So you, so the guide that we have with us today really specializes in helping you in your communication.
Okay.
And in what your actions communicate, while not getting swept up into like the emotional tide of anything. Anthony, you are like going toward your highest potential. Connecting with how you can best handle those times when you are feeling like you're not good enough, or when you're afraid of failure, and then when you attract like being rejected, whether it's on a date or something that you ask your partner for, or it's like a role that you're moving toward, or whatever it is, there is a desire in you for things to be like perfect and lined up. And what I want to bring this to your attention, because I know that you've, like through conversations that we've had and what's coming in, you've had a trying few years. And you, Anthony, you really, really tried so hard to fit in and to do things like by the book. Like you gave it your all, and it drove you to escape with alcohol. And it trying to fit in and trying to cope with that you don't fit in, and making yourself do these things you didn't want to do, it ended up hurting you.
In a procrastinatory manner, of course my initial reaction is like,
Sure.
but I'm gonna take it with me.
Well, that's okay.
And we'll put it, yeah. So.
You're not supposed to agree with every bit of guidance that you get, but it's here.
Right, but I'm not gonna waste it.
You.
I am telling you that I'm taking it with me.
If someone tells us we're self-sabotaging, the saboteur comes out with daggers.
Fuck yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not. But you have to remember that the saboteur's job is to, like, all parts of our ego or our junior are there to keep us safe.
Right.
When the saboteur comes out, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, this is it. okay, I'm not gonna go down that way anymore.
Yeah.
And you're gonna make a new choice.
Yeah. Well, and figure out
And you're
why
gonna
he's coming out.
And you're gonna remember this. You'll remember this conversation.
Sure.
And you'll be like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Again. Through our work together in the universal love story, Anthony now has a deeper understanding of his self-sabotage patterns, and he knows what he gets to do to really open his heart, see himself with eyes of love. How are you affected by this law of love? I am genuinely interested. Please comment with your insights, your reflections, and your experiences and questions, and join us in our free Facebook group, The Revolt for Love, Love Revolution.
Coming up on the next episode of the Universal Love Story.
Hi, my name's Nicole. I'm a business owner, a small startup, so that's what I do for a living. My dream relationship is one where I feel accepted and supported, and in a situation where I feel like I can reciprocate both of those things. It looks like a situation where somebody is interested enough in the things that I love doing, where they're willing and able to participate, but the things that they don't necessarily enjoy that I do, they give me the freedom to explore without judgment, and that would be the most ideal relationship for me. I am struggling with breaking free of the constraints that I've had in previous relationships and the expectations. I am really good at being myself, but as soon as I get into a relationship, I tend to expect limitations, because those are the type of relationships that I tend to end up in. So trying to break free of those kind of constraints. I'm hoping to get some more clarity on how I make these compromises in my relationship so that I can have the best opportunity to be able to be aware and help stop it in its tracks. I feel like some of my relationships could have very easily gone in different ways if I didn't just automatically start accommodating implied expectations rather than standing my ground. So I feel like doing a project like this is a great way to develop some enlightenment into bad habits that I fall into just based on previous experience.